It's back! Back by popular demand from the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media and the Democratic Party, COVID-19, it's back! Bigger, badder, bolder than ever, it's back! Hogwash. Pure hogwash. It is bullhock. It is bunk. The reason the numbers are going up is very clear. We're doing more testing. More testing will reveal more people have had it. More people are asymptomatic. Well, the hospitals are on the rise. I explained this yesterday. I will explain it again. Hospitals took a financial hit, along with every other business, during the quarantine, mandatory shutdown, house arrest, impeachment of your rights. So, now that things are struggling to get back to a sense of classic normal, hospitals have some revenue to make up. After all, once they were exposed by the New York Times and other media outlets and conservative commentators like me, we had it right from the very beginning. So the mainstream media, which did reluctantly report on it, they kind of came to that story kicking and screaming, but it was a definite news story that had to be reported. When we found out that, well, states and hospitals got reimbursed by the government based on the severity of COVID, it behooved them to find a whole lot of serious cases, didn't it? And when that got exposed and the government said there'll be no more of this, you get X number of dollars if it's COVID, you get X number of dollars if they're in a hospital, X number of dollars if it's an ICU bed, X number of dollars if it's ventilator. When they did away with all that, well, the cash incentive was gone for the states, who were bankrupt to keep cashing in on this, so they reluctantly had to begin to reopen. And it was then an issue for hospitals, who then told governors, we're going to have to start doing the, quote, non-essential surgeries because we're going bankrupt over here. Now that people are testing positive, they're going into the hospital. Why? Because hospitals are trying to make up lost revenue. And it is statistically proven the stays are very short because, again, it's a younger demographic. The reason it's a younger demographic, it's herd immunity. As people move about, this is how viruses work. Now, let me set the stage and warn you for what's coming. Okay? Get ready. About mid-July, going into August, because, schools in certain parts of the country go back to school around middle August. So we're going to have a couple of good lead weeks going into fear and hysteria. Kids are going to start magically coming down with it. Yes, how dare we have the day camps? How dare we have Little League and the summer activities for kids? Obviously, we've exposed them, we've infected them. See, we've gone from making them the carriers of the plague to now they are going to be victims. And this is all designed to, you got it, shut down schools. The Democrats, the media, the swamp, the deep state, never Trump rhinos, they don't want anything looking like normal going into the fall. Why? They can't afford to have the economy rebound. Why? It means the re-election of Donald Trump. So you're going to see more protesting, more rioting. This is going to continue all summer. And you are going to see fear and hysteria drive the narrative. But the people behind the fear and hysteria know this is a complete and total crock. I have been saying this since jump. Now, Governor Andy Cuomo of the People's Republic of New York has been trying to take a victory lap that, his state, COVID's down and we did it right, and I got blasted for not giving into the White House, and these red state governors opening too quickly put lives in danger. This is coming from a guy who killed nearly 7,000 people by forcing nursing homes to receive infected COVID patients. He claims he didn't do. That's not what I did. It is exactly what he did. And he's trying desperately to change the narrative. He's trying desperately to rewrite history. And of course, a weak media will allow him to get away with it. We won't allow him to get away with that here. And when he insinuated a couple of days ago on PMSNBC that governors of red states were reckless and it was killing people, well, the lieutenant governor of Texas isn't having any of it. He pushed back. He actually called Cuomo a, quote, murderer. Those direct quote, I'm going to let you hear it in just a moment. He called him a murderer. He said it was Cuomo's policies, his mandating of taking COVID people into nursing homes was murder. Boom. I mean, it is on, baby. It is on. Before I play that clip, let me just say right here, I am incensed. I don't know what it's like in your area, but in my area, there's not a fireworks program to be had for the 4th of July. Some have, we're going to do July 4th on September 4th. What? That's not our nation's birthday. Fireworks on the 4th of September, okay. Having lived in Florida for 9 years, my family and I used to like to vacation around Daytona Beach, and every Saturday night in Daytona Beach all summer long, they do fireworks off the pier. It's kind of nice. We take a stroll down there on the beach and watch the fireworks. I'll watch fireworks anytime. But on the 4th of July, when we're talking about our nation ripping itself apart because Democratic, libloon, radical left, never Trumpers, deep state, oligarch want this continual, so if for nothing else, people say, we need another president just so things quiet down. Well, now, when we could use something like the 4th of July for a time of bringing our nation together, well, and that there's other implications here, not just Corona. You know that white liberals are thinking, well, we can't celebrate the birthday of a racist slave nation. I can just tell you unofficially that in my area, there's going to be an underground fireworks display. Can't tell you where. This is something we have to do word of mouth, but we're going to do one. And I will tell you all about it as it gets nearer. But that's in the works. I'm a big part of it. I might even be the planner of it. So we have got to start pushing back on the mask of fear. We have got to start pushing back on all of this crapola. Look, people need to live their lives. And at this point, yes, the COVID cases are going up, and they're going to continue to go up. What they're not talking about, where they're not giving it any context, the mortality rate, oh my goodness, it's anybody that dies, it's a sad, tragic loss for their family. But right now, the mortality rate is, statistically speaking, almost becoming non-existent. In other words, yes, more people are getting it, and they're getting it over it that quickly. They're not dying. And members of the media and lying politicians like Andrew Cuomo are absolutely flat out lying, claiming that states like Texas have run out of ICU beds. Well, Laura Ingraham had the lieutenant governor of Texas on, and he just absolutely put Cuomo where Cuomo needs to be put.
Well, first of all, Governor Cuomo is probably the biggest fraud who holds that position in the country. He had about 6,000 people die in nursing homes. We've had less than 1,000, and that's on top of the other people who have died in New York. He shortchanged the people in New York, and he cost people their lives. And how dare him come on and point his finger at any other governor in the state for what he did. He killed people in New York, and I'll say it clearly because of his policies of shipping people in nursing homes. In Texas, Laura, we have seen a spike in cases. We expected that because we're now testing almost 35,000 a day. We're testing in more of our 254 counties than we were before. So we expected those numbers to go up. Our hospitalizations are up. But here's the good news. The good news is we're not seeing it translate to the ICU unit or into fatalities. So over the last 8 days, we've had 47, 29, 28, 10, 17 people pass. Every life is valuable. But with the spike in cases and the spike in hospitalizations, the firewall so far is at the ICU units. I talked to one major hospital chain, Laura, last night. In March, their death rate compared to positivity was almost 12%. In May, it was 9%, and this month it's 5.9. Here's the point. The numbers are high, but there's a lot to be very optimistic about. We're very concerned, being very careful, but to be very optimistic about, because these are mostly younger people who are in the hospitals for half the time that they were in March. They're getting out and they're healthy. They're not going to the ICU unit. And by the way, I want to straighten out some misinformation that's been all over the media in Texas and America. We are not out of ICU beds in Texas. We have 7,200 ICU beds available. Of those, we have 1,400 with COVID, 7,200 and 1,400.
Yeah, and you haven't even you haven't even had to move essential surgeries off the table.
No.
I mean, you haven't even had to do all that. You have room to grow in your ICUs. I hope you don't have to use it. Will Texas, in any way, shape, or form, Dan Patrick, shut down because of this spike? Will it?
Well, Governor Abbott was very clear in his announcement today that we put a pause on elective surgeries to make sure we have plenty of room, but we're not stepping backwards. And our pause button that we've taken here, Laura, we're already 75% open in our restaurants, 50% in almost every business. People are out there and about. It's one of the reasons the cases are up with young people. They actually, about Memorial Day, said, I've had enough living with my parents. I'm going out. And they're socializing. And we wish they would social distance as they do that. But that's been the big reason for the spike. And just to close the loop on the ICU cases, when they say in Texas, well, it's 90, 95% full, that's with non-COVID patients. So as those cases end, we have plenty of room, plenty of room for
Dan,
COVID patients.
You just, in about 3 or 4 minutes, this is because Dan has a long history in radio too, so he knows how to, you clarified so much that has been confused, purposely confused by the media. Thank you for doing this tonight.
Boom, shakalaka, bang. That's it, baby. Have a great weekend.